guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna do something a little bit different. As you can see, I'm in the kitchen. As some of you may know, recently in Southern California it's been like really gloomy and rainy, and it really just makes me crave a big bowl of soup, especially the one that I, was eating throughout my childhood. It like fed my soul. Like, I don't know, hard to explain. But anyways, it's definitely one of my favorite dishes, one of the most popular or well-known Filipino dishes. Today I'm gonna go ahead and walk you guys through how to make sinigang. So some of you may be asking what sinigang is, and it's basically a light broth stew with interchangeable proteins. So the protein can either be chicken, shrimp, but it's most traditionally cooked with pork. And it gets most of its flavor from its bones, of course, and then alongside the protein comes the vegetables. The veggies are also interchangeables. The veggies that I like to put into my sinigang are bok choy, string beans, tomatoes, onions, and kangkong, which I believe is a pea plant, but I could be wrong. Either way, it adds like a nice little crunch to the dish, and it's just my favorite. Oh, and I completely forgot daikon, which is a root vegetable. Regardless, you can add whatever vegetables you want to your liking, and you can swap things out for it, which makes it a really good recipe to have because you can change it out if someone that's eating it is gonna have dietary restrictions. And I just decided to make it for you guys today to share a little bit about myself and my culture. Alright, so description aside, if you're interested in watching me teach you how to make sinigang, go ahead and keep on watching. Let's get into it. So one of the first things that I like to do when I'm cooking sinigang is to cook the rice flat out. This dish is usually eaten with rice. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but it makes the whole dish more filling and more comforting. So I just went ahead and set up my little rice cooker over here. The rice is actually finished and it's warming now. So with the rice out of the way, I'm just gonna go ahead and start prepping the ingredients so we can start cooking. And this is our little setup as of right now. Here we have the kangkong that I was talking about, which is my favorite green. We have some tomatoes, some daikon. We have some green beans here, which is called sitaw in Tagalog, and just a regular yellow onion. Surprisingly, there's not a lot of seasoning that goes into the dish, even though it tastes very flavorful. This mix right here basically does a bulk of the seasoning. I know there's different brands, but this one's just the one that I grew up on, so I'm gonna be using Knorr. Not sponsored, just kidding. No, but really, not sponsored. This is my little prep station right over here. I'm just gonna go ahead and chop up the vegetables to my liking, and then I'll go ahead and show you how I prepare the meat. Also, all the vegetables have been washed beforehand, so I'm just gonna get into it. So this is basically what we have after finishing prep. We just washed and drained our kangkong. We have our tamarind packets. You can definitely cook this with fresh tamarind also. I'm not that experienced at it yet. But if you're concerned about like sodium and stuff, that's definitely like the healthier way of going about it. And then we just have the chopped up string beans, tomatoes, onions, and daikon radish. And I also forgot to mention that while I was prepping, I actually started preheating my pots. I just put it at a medium low so that I can go ahead and saute the onions, tomatoes, and the pork together. But obviously before we do that, I have to show you how I prepare the pork before we cook it. So like an idiot, I forgot to thaw out my pork. I actually just had to wait like about an hour or so for it to get defrosted. But with TV magic, it is just magically defrosted. I basically just took the pork out of its packaging, threw it into some cold water, into some bowls like so, and I just let it sit in the sink until it got defrosted. And I even threw some salt in there per Chef Van's recommendation, which has worked great because it actually was able to thaw out faster. And in the meantime, Bianca and I just knocked out some TikToks, no big deal. But basically, the pork is all thawed out now. If you buy fresh pork, that's even better because you don't have to deal with this mess, but that's just what I had to do. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and drain out the water, wash the pork. The cut of pork that I'm using is pork spare ribs. I chose the spare ribs because, that's traditionally just what we use, but also because of the bones in it. The bones just add so much flavor to the broth. Ooh, it's so insane. It's so good. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and drain out the pork, wash it out, and then get it prepped to cook. So after you prep the vegetables and you wash out the meat, we're basically all set to start cooking sinigang. So like I said, I started to preheat the pots. I'm using 2 because we don't have a big enough pot for how much I'm trying to make. It's one of those recipes that you can't really just make like a couple servings of. It has to be like a family size serving. Don't ask me why, I don't make the rules, okay? But basically, I'm just gonna go ahead and start it off with a little bit of olive oil. The pork has enough fat in it to cook the tomato and the onions, to saute them. But for right now, we just need to get the onions and the tomatoes started. So since there's nothing in there, we're just gonna go ahead and drizzle some olive oil in there. And it doesn't have to be olive oil either. It can be like canola oil, any sort of oil, just to kind of get the veggies to start to cook. So I just have my little wooden spoon here, which is my spoon of choice, I guess. So go ahead and take the tomato and the onion and start sauteing them in the pot. And then after they wilt down a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and add the pork to it. So I just added the tomatoes and the onions to the pot. It smells really good already, and I'm so excited. Alright, so now that we threw the tomatoes and the onions in there, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw the pork in there, but before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and add fish sauce. So fish sauce, I'm actually not really sure how they make it. I just know that it's made out of anchovies. My guess is as good as yours, but I think they just kind of pour water over the anchovies and let it sit. It sounds really disgusting, but it has this really good, salty, deep flavor. I don't know how to explain it. But basically, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this in there, then throw the pork in and saute everything up together. Alright, so now we're gonna go ahead and add the drained pork. So good. Nice. And as you can see, it's starting to kind of make its own, starting to make its own fat at the bottom. And it's just gonna go ahead and cook up those onions and tomatoes a little bit more. All right, so this is the stew. After a few minutes, it started to boil and it's definitely cooking through the pork now. But yeah, I'm so sorry I'm not very precise about the measurements or anything. I just no measurements, just vibes. So as a side note, the nice thing about this stew is that there's not really a surefire way to mess it up, since the longer you boil it, the better it tastes. If you're not entirely sure if you season correctly or cook the meat all the way, as long as you keep boiling it in its own stew, it'll be fine and it'll cook through perfectly. I think we've reached the point where most of the meat is cooked now. I'm just gonna go ahead and start adding more water into it to make the soup portion of the stew, and then also add in the tamarind soup mix. Anyways, amazing. So you take 2 lids, lid them, turn it up on high so that they can start boiling and tenderizing and cooking, and then all the flavors can just mesh together. And then at the very end, we'll start cooking the vegetables down. The only reason why we don't add the vegetables right away during this stage is because as you're tenderizing the meat by boiling it, you don't want to also just have the vegetables fall apart. You want to have like some sort of like texture to the dish, so you want to keep everything vegetable wise as fresh as possible till the end. Oh, and as far as how long you boil it, honestly, it's just however long you feel. I like to leave it boiling maybe like about 40 minutes, give or take. If you do it for longer, or even have like what are those things called? The ones that like you like have to twist and it has like a lot of pressure in it. Pressure cooker. Oh my gosh. Those things with like pressure in it. But yeah, if you have like a pressure cooker, it obviously shortens the time that it takes to tenderize the meat. Yeah, see you back in 40. So like I said earlier, there's so many ways to customize this dish. Mine in particular is to add these fresh yellow peppers. It kind of just adds a little spice to it. Alright guys, so it's gotten to that point where the meat has gotten really tender. I'm just gonna go ahead and add the vegetables now, and then I'm gonna wait for that to cook down. Should be like another, maybe like 10 minutes for it to cook down. We basically just wanna cook the vegetables down a little bit to wilt them so they're not like super crunchy, but still crunchy enough to have texture. So yeah, I guess we'll just check back in 10 minutes and then we'll have a taste test. So it's gotten to a point where the vegetables had already started cooking down. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and plate up some of this stew for Van and B to try. Cut to Van and B. God, you do everything for me.
Hey.
Get that part out. Anyways, so I'm here with my housemates that I so dearly love, and they're gonna go ahead and try my cooking for the very first time. So I'm super anxious, but
That's okay.
I know it only took like a whole like 5 days. It's fine.
Okay, so tell me what it's called again.
Sinigang. The flavor profile is very sour.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know.
I hate sour
I know you eat sour things, but
Okay.
just
I'm
try
sure
it.
it's
Let's have it on
I
time.
will just try.
Okay,
Just try it.
Sinigang.
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 Yeah, there it is.
This doesn't have seafood in it, right?
You said what?
This one is not the seafood.
Oh wait. Did
No.
you give her your list?
Oh
Okay,
no.
scroll.
The whole.
What's in there?
I'm trying it.
Please don't die. Where's that one?
I've had this before.
Are you lying?
Not like a Vietnamese version.
Wait, this is so good. What?
Stop it.
Seriously, I actually really liked it.
Wow, I'm so glad you guys.
See, this is what I was kind of thinking it would taste like.
I had no idea. What's this green stuff?
Veggies.
Well, yeah. Okay.
You know, I think she's gonna be.
Like, I've never seen these ones before.
Like, what is this? It's kind of like, I think it's.
With tender ass meat. I mean that tender meat.
It's okay. I figured out how to bleep stuff out. Bleep?
That tender meat.
Yeah. That's how you edit it. You just gotta voice over it.
Whoa. Wait. This is so mother freaking good.
It's sour. It's more sour.
Yeah, but I like it. Like, it's sour, but it's not like
Like
sour.
a lemon drop.
It's like
You
sour.
usually don't like sour things.
I know.
Yeah, this meat is so tender.
Remember, I want to go vegan.
You want to close out your video?
Yeah. So that pretty much brings us to the end of this video. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm so happy that I was able to share this little piece of myself with you guys. Well, with that being said, I'm actually kind of curious to see what my subscribers and viewers' favorite cultural foods are. Go ahead and leave a comment down below with your country and what your favorite dish is. And also let me know if you actually enjoyed this video and want to see more cooking videos. I'm just trying to like leave a little variety of everything on my channel at this point. Go ahead and leave a like, please comment and subscribe. That's it for the video. Thanks for tuning in. See you in the next one, guys.